When I look at 10 years, I'm proud of where we've come. I'm proud of all the partnerships that have been developed. And so the next 10 is focused on scaling up and accelerating, going to the next level.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the State of Soy. I'm Aaron Putsey and I'm visiting today with our Iowa Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Naig. First of all, Mike, thanks for making the time for us today as two neighbors from Palo Alto County. It's always great to catch up.
Always good to talk.
So let's start right off the bat with what's that number one issue right now for you as Ag Secretary that's kind of top shelf?
Well, I'm looking over your shoulder at our beautiful state capitol and knowing that we just came out of a legislative session, and then also thinking about that other capitol in Washington, D.C. I think policy and certainly Farm Bill takes center stage now. Even as they're talking about the debt ceiling and some of those issues, that budget conversation really is leading into a more aggressive and more active Farm Bill season. So policy, both here at the state level and nationally, I think is very much and should be very much top of mind for all of us.
So, speaking of policy, I know the state has done a lot to address the issues of nutrient movement, water quality. We are right here at the 10-year anniversary of the Iowa Nutrient Reduction Strategy, which you have been a big proponent of a voluntary based approach to making improvements. So touch a little bit on the progress as well as the momentum around that 10-year anniversary.
I don't think of it as much as a celebration as just let's commemorate that fact, acknowledge that fact. I think back, I'm talking a lot about going back to basics this year. Let's go back to the basics of the nutrient reduction strategy. I want to give a lot of credit to some visionary folks years ago. That'd be my predecessor, Bill Northey, the DNR director at the time, Chuck Gipp, and the dean of the College of Ag and Life Sciences, Wendy Winterstein, and John Lawrence, the associate dean at the time, got together and really set out to lay out a strategy around reducing nutrient loss in the state of Iowa. And that's been the work of the last 10 years, laying the foundation. I'm proud of the work that's been done. We're at 3 million acres of cover crops. We're accelerating in every phase of what we're doing: wetlands, bioreactors, saturated buffers, no-till, you name it, we're seeing more of it. But the next 10 years has to be all about further scaling up, more innovation. How do we bring the market drivers into this? The Soil and Water Outcomes Fund being a great example of testing that out. And when I look at 10 years, I'm proud of where we've come. I'm proud of all the partnerships that have been developed. We've got a lot of work to do now. And so the next 10 is focused on scaling up and accelerating, going to the next level. It's been so satisfying, I guess, to see people more than just talk about the importance of this. It's the doers that I love, and it's the people that are out there making partnerships, saying yes, being creative, actually doing things. Over 350 partners implementing the strategy. That's something I'm very proud of.
And production, of course, it begins with soil and water, but also you need demand on the other side. Right. So let's shift gears here a little bit on the demand side. Livestock matters. Talk about Prop 12 and where we're at with that and the impact for Iowa.
We had a chance this spring. We had 2 trade missions for the state of Iowa: Japan and South Korea, Vietnam and Philippines. Soybean has been international as well, several locations this year. Perspective is really everything, and you think about other countries that are actually talking about food shortages and food security issues. And then we come home. And we come home to a United States of America that has the safest, most abundant, most affordable food supply in the world. It's foundational to the American way of life. We spend the least amount of our income on food in the developed world, and that matters. You can invest in the future. You can take a vacation. You can buy another car. You can start a business. You can improve your home. You can pay for a child's education. These are all things that are part and parcel of the American way of life. It's that foundational. And then when you see people trying to chop away at that, like Prop 12, of course that impacts us today, but the thing I'm probably most concerned about is it just threw open the door to more activity like this.
Yeah.
Large states, big markets dictating to smaller states how they're going to produce, you name it, whatever it is. Pork and eggs are really in the crosshairs now, but it won't stop there.
Really, the losers are the California consumer and the Iowa farmer.
So what you just did is you add in a tremendous amount of uncertainty. You drive up the cost of production. When you do those things, it has a corresponding effect on the price and availability of food. And I don't think we're connecting the dots. The California consumer, especially the lowest income rung, those who can least afford these impact to their food prices, are the ones who are the most hurt.
Last question, speaking on the demand side, let's talk trade. Speak to trade from the vantage point of why it is so important for the Iowa farmer and for the Iowa soybean farmer.
I mentioned that we were on a couple of trade missions this year. Our group came back, unfortunately, with the realization that we are suffering market share losses around the world because of tariffs on U.S. products. We can compete on quality and consistency and reliability, those are hallmarks of U.S. agriculture, but we're out of position on price. And that's because we're not being aggressive as a country in securing new trade agreements. Now we have to enforce existing trade agreements as well. I give the administration credit for really working hard on things like Mexico and the grain issues and GMO issues there. Enforcing agreements is important. Iowa is second in the nation when it comes to the value of the food and ag products that we export. We need expanding trade. It's got to get back on the administration's agenda.
Well, you know, Secretary Naig, thank you for all you do to represent the farmer. Reporting for this edition of The State of Soy, I'm Aaron Putsey.
My name is Charlie Brunker, and my wife and I and our kids run Precision Ag and try to be on the cutting edge every time we can. We turned on FMH, Precision Ag, crop insurance. We harnessed what we're already doing, and we'll never look back. Grandpa used to call a field, 100 acres, and now we're planting 90 of the 100 acres. Well, we're only paying for the 90 that we plant, and those details actually increased our APHs anywhere from 5 to 12% in the first year.